Hi everyone, welcome to Coffee, Books, and Rain. Now, if you are a fan or a subscriber to my first channel, which is Hope and Coffee, then everything looks pretty much exactly the same. However, this channel, Coffee, Books, and Rain, is more related to the world of literature, literary things, books, and all that sort of fun stuff. So I'm a very avid reader, and I wanted to have a kind of a secondary platform that I would be able to share my book thoughts with you all, be able to provide more feedback and more reviews for books without overwhelming my primary channel with just book reviews. So I'm going to leave my primary channel more thoughts and conversations on topics that I find just interesting and that come up. So maybe millennial conversations, dating conversation, pet pup dates, and those sorts of fun things. Where here on Coffee, Books, and Rain, we are going to just slow down. We're going to enjoy our cup of whatever warm beverage you enjoy. For me, it is coffee. Today, it is chai. Um, so I'm already breaking the rules by episode 1 having chai instead of coffee. However, for today's episode, I wanted to review a book that is one of my favorites, and it is by an author that I love. So if you've been on my primary channel for any period of time, if you have even learned anything about the podcast that I'm a part of, which is Books Are Magical, you will know that I am a pretty big fan of Brandon Sanderson. Now, when I say I'm a pretty big fan, I am a very avid reader of his works. I don't often dive into a lot of like his social life or his personal life. I let the man live his life. I know he does a lot of good things. I know he teaches. I know he has his own podcast, but I know he's also a very prolific writer. And he had a Kickstarter. I backed it. I kickstarted it and was able to get some copies of those books that were part of that program. However, this particular episode 1 of Coffee, Books, and Rain, is going to be about book 1 of the Stormlight Archive, The Way of Kings. And I'm going to try to put a picture somewhere over here in this general area of what the cover art looks like. I do not plan on trying to quote it too much. I do not want to, of course, break any copyrights. As part of the fair use, I want to try to be able to provide a critique without doing any sort of, I guess, there's nothing defamatory is what I'm trying to say. I am giving my honest review. That is what this channel is for. It's for honest reviews. And I want you guys to know that what you hear from me is my own thoughts and opinions. And I have got some research that I have pulled yes, from Wikipedia, because yes, I can go to Goodreads and I can go to Amazon and places like that, but I also wanted to pull a couple of the other stats as well from a place like Wikipedia, because yes, I know some people don't really trust Wikipedia, but it has gotten better since the time when Wikipedia was not so well thought of as it's maybe not the best at literary reference when you're writing scholarly papers. However, it is actually pretty good if you are looking for a fairly reliable resource to kind of fact check. And it does actually have a great community of people who try to go through and ensure that the facts are as correct as possible. So kudos to them. All right, so let's dive into The Way of Kings. Now, The Way of Kings was written by Brandon Sanderson. Again, it was the first book of the Stormlight Archive. I believe if I remember correctly, the 5th book of that series is coming out at the end of this year, possibly November, December, so I cannot wait for that. And it was released in August of 2010. Now, it is substantially longer than most novels. It is about 1,000 pages long, and if you pick up the audiobook, I want to say it's somewhere between 25 and 27 hours long, but honestly, I feel like it goes so quickly. You like it took me probably 2 listens to fully, I guess, understand it. Especially all the way through. I think the first time I listened to it, I was a little confused with just the timeline and keeping my characters straight. But it didn't deter from the story that was going on. And the second time I reread it, I fully knew what was going on and loved it even more. I highly recommend like you giving it a chance. It is considered high fantasy, so if you are a fan of high fantasy, it is definitely in that genre. And even though it was released in 2010, so we are in 2024 right now, so 14 years, it still has ratings of 4.7 and 4.8 across different reading platforms. So I just want to put that out there because it is such a well thought of book, and it is part of a series that is also well thought of and in a category of books that'll probably last through an age. It falls into the same sort of category as Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time series. I'm not sure if it's made it to the realm of Tolkien and the Hobbits and the Lord of the Rings and the Return of the King and all that sort of thing, but it's definitely getting there with world building and all that sort of creativity that goes with this world that Sanderson, the magic systems that are inside of it. And so, what Sanderson has done is this particular story has quite a few points of view that it does rotate through. One of our main protagonists, one of our main characters, his name is Kaladin. Now, he was a soldier, he was a surgeon, and I'm not going to tell you guys kind of his story. I'm not going to tell you his background too much. Other than that, something happened, and he reaches the lowest of the lowest point in his life and pretty much has to dig his way from the bottom up once again after thinking that he is doing pretty well. He is definitely a fighter, but he goes through mentally a lot of hurdles that I think we all face at different times. The self-doubt and the self-deprecation, carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders, thinking that other people's lives are, that he's responsible for it, and feeling as though he's got to prove himself, those sorts of things. There is Shallan, and she is a scholar who goes to try to become an apprentice to a second character whose name is Yasna, and Yasna is the daughter of the king who's been killed, and Yasna is she's so very cool. I love her. She's kind of hard, but she is very thoughtful. She's very almost stoic in a way, but she gets Shallan to think about a lot of things that maybe she didn't think of in the ways that she had before. There is Szeth Sunsun Villano, which we will learn very quickly from the very beginning that he is the one who killed the king right off the bat. So Gavilar, who was the king, has been killed, and his son Elhokar takes the throne. Now Elhokar is fairly young when he takes the throne, but he's old enough to kind of come to power, from what I'm to understand. So Dalinar is the brother to Gavilar. So Dalinar, he is the uncle to Elhokar, and he is very he's ashamed of his brother's death. He blames himself for his brother's death, and he doesn't feel like the warrior he once did. Adolin is Dalinar's son, and there are quite a few other characters. So all that to be said is those are just some of the characters. Now, this is a very, like I said, this is a high epic fantasy. So, for what it's worth, there is this war going on that has kind of been more or less going on for a few years now since the death of Gavilar the king. Um, the the Empire has been fighting against uh, the Parshmen or the Parshindis. And the Parshindis have pretty much, they're fighting for gem hearts, and they're like, they're fighting all the time. So that's just kind of one of the main parts of the story is it's constant war all the time, constant resources being used. There are shard blades which people use to make them a little bit more superhuman. Dalinar has some. Gavilar, the dead king, also had some. However, they've gone to his son Elhokar, and so that sort of thing. So there are about 5 parts to this book. Like I said, it's about 1,000 pages long, and it's quite impressive, the world that Sanderson has started building in this book. My overall review is that I definitely give it 5 stars. I don't think I would continually pick up this book and reread it if I didn't find it to be such a rich, engrossing world. I think Sanderson has definitely built out Kholinar, and that's kind of the realm we're in such a way that we are truly made to believe it feels real. He really wants us to know that he has kind of thought about everything. I will say there is a character called Wit, and if you in any way have ever been a fan of Brandon Sanderson, you will recognize Wit as being another character from a couple other books called Hoid, and that's Hoid. And the reason I like Hoid is because he's almost a world jumper. He can go through these different worlds. He knows more than he should know. He has warnings, but he never tries to interfere too much. He does try to bring a little bit of forethought or a little bit of foreknowledge, but it's never so much that it's going to, I guess lean one side or the other. So I just kind of wanted to give you guys that little nugget because, like I said, I love Hoid. And we've got quite a few characters, like I said, that are present in this story, as well as some in interludes that pop up that we don't know how they're interwoven yet, especially when it comes to just this particular novel, because each book progressively seems to get a little bigger. And so for this one to be 1,000 pages, I didn't even check to see what the second one is, which is, I believe, Words of Radiance. But once I finish Words of Radiance somewhere through this year, because this year I plan to read all of the books leading up to the new release of the next Stormlight installment. So with all of that being said, I want to thank you so much for joining me here on my new channel, Coffee, Books, and Rain. Please, if you have any thoughts regarding any books that you would love to hear about, reviews, your favorite books, please leave a comment down below. Please subscribe. Again, I would love to talk more about books with you all, and I will continue to share my thoughts if you guys like it, and I look forward to seeing you all on the next page. So have a great one. Bye.